So many times in life, because of this thing, this phone that's in all of our pockets, we are so connected to everything. Everything is in the moment, right? People can text you and email you and call you. It's so in your face that I think it's the busiest we've ever been, and our brains don't even have time to set goals in the way we used to, because we're just trying to get through the day. Like, some of us are like, I just want to make it through the night. Your head hits the pillow, you're like, oh, I made it out alive. It's hard. It's got this, it's like a dust cloud around us, and we're expected to set goals and we can't even see 2 feet in front of us. So I like to do it a little differently. And this is how I set my compelling future. Let's call it a compelling future, not just goals for the next 12 months. Let's talk about our compelling future. I like to pretend it's 1 year from today. And instead of us looking through the dust cloud, let's pretend it's a year from now and we're looking backwards. And let's pretend it was the best year of your life. What would have to happen in your life for it to be the best year of your life, in your career or your income or your business or your relationships or love or health? I want you to trick your brain. I want you to focus it and live it, positive focus, as if it already happened. Take a moment and really visualize.
Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Carmichael, and I make these videos because in my first business, I struggled to stay afloat. I quit on my business partner, and the thing that kept me motivated, that kept me going, was studying the stories of famous, successful entrepreneurs. And in their stories, it gave me the hope, the drive, the ambition, the thinking that maybe I can do it too, that extra bit of belief. And I still need their stories today, and I'm honored to share them with you here as well. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Dean Graziosi, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy.
We have the opportunity to pretend it's a year from now and we're looking backwards. Yeah, I wrote the book. You could even, Sue, you said, my book is written. Great, your book is done. Take it one step further. My book is done, and there's people all over the world with my book in their hands. And they're reading it, and they're on chapter 6, and they get that story I never told anybody except what I wrote in this book, and God, it feels good when they hit me up on social media and tell me about chapter 6. The more we visualize, the more we have a positive focus on it, the more it's not just this dream, it's our reality that we just haven't got to yet. When we can see it in our head, eventually we can hold it and see it because it's real. So I'd love for you to shift this whole goals process thing and turn it into a compelling future and put yourself in that spot.
Rule number 2 is take control of your life.
When the outside world is out of control, we need a place to be plugged in so we can find inner control, inner strength. When the world is seeing obstacles, we need to see opportunity. The only person you have to be better than is the person you were last week, last month, last year. Let regrets go. Let them burn down in the previous year. Let hesitation, let procrastination, let imposter syndrome burn down, and realize we all get to start fresh today. We can't rewrite the past. We can't predict the future, but we can take ownership of our actions today so we create a culture of progress, of just moving forward at your pace. When you doubt yourself, move forward. When your mind tells you we can't do this, move forward. When you're feeling a little off, come back to this amazing community and get the support of friends. And I know it sounds crazy, people use this word lightly, but come back to this family. And also, I love sharing the word uncomfortable action, because usually when we take action into something new, it is uncomfortable. And if it feels uncomfortable, congratulations, you're on the right track. Okay, today, busy weekend. I had a business mastery with Tony, but I got to do that virtually. But more important, I am at a mastermind, hence we own mastermind.com, because masterminds have changed my life more than any other one thing. My hand's getting a little tired here, so I'm gonna switch. And hence why we own it. That's why we love this company. It's the collectiveness. Mastermind is described by Napoleon Hill is 2 or more minds coming together and creating one smarter version. And man, women, really, it is the biggest game changer in my life. Now, I don't get to do it as much as I used to, multiple times a year. I used to do it almost every month. But I'm up here with people you'd know. It's a small group of people where we come together and all share our greatest experiences, our greatest breakthroughs, how we impact people the most. We also come here and share our biggest challenges or opportunities, and we help each other through them. The benefit of staying connected to people who have the same dreams as you, the same goals as you, and the reason I'm sharing this is because you would never believe the success that people had in that room, while simultaneously you would never believe that they still deal with the same human condition, the same worries, the same questions, the same feeling of imposter syndrome, the same feeling, am I focusing too much on my business and ignoring my family, or am I ignoring my family too much and not going all in on business? The feeling of not being good enough when I'm trying to go to the next level. I want to get to your level and I don't know if I have the capabilities, and what if no one believes? All the same feelings you have. You would think someone who gets successful, the problems go away and the worries go away. They don't. What they do is you learn to deal with bigger problems. You learn to handle bigger responsibilities, and you become a better version of you. Don't wish for things to get easier. Wish for you and work hard to get better.
Rule number 3 is be prepared.
I believe we are heading into a life preserver time, right? If you think about, if we just look at history, I'm not an economist and I'm not predicting the future, but I think everybody's aware of this. We just have to face it, because I get to talk to people, especially if you're under 35, you really don't know what it looks like for an economy to shift, as Jim Rohn said and Tony Robbins says, heading into winter, heading into a recession. If we just look at history, we say we have 45-year high inflation, right? You see it in gas and prices and food and milk and everything possible. We have interest rates that have gone up 3 times now just in the past month, and it's predicted that interest rates will go up 6 more times by the end of the year, right? If you look at the stock market today on your phone, if you have an Apple phone, it pops up. What has the stock market done every day for the last, month or so? It's creeping down. Usually when you're in a place like this, it's people are going, oh, it's temporary, it could be a hiccup. If you look over time, it has all the ingredients, and people smarter than me sharing, that we're heading towards a recession. We're heading towards some sort of winter. And the other thing I want you guys to think about, and what does that mean for you, is if you push down a trampoline a little bit, right, what happens to it? It bounces back around the same height, right? We've just had a 15-year run where, like, you couldn't mess up. Interest rates got cheaper. They printed more money. If you look at the last 15 years of the stock market, it's like this, with a couple little dips. That's like pushing the trampoline way down, and what a lot of these experts predict is, since we had such a solid run for that long, what's the opposite of pushing something really far down? It's the opposite and equal reaction to the action. I hope I'm completely wrong. It's a tiny hiccup, and there's another 15 years of a great market. I hope that. I hope it for you, everybody. But I wouldn't be a good friend, leader, teammate if I didn't share what could potentially be happening. So, with that said, here's the cool part. In 2007, when the world shifted the last time, when there was the savings and loan and banking issues and the crash, and every other house, if you're here in America, in your neighborhood was for sale or in foreclosure. When that happened, my self-education business exponentially grew. 2007, 2008 were some of the best years of my life up until that point. And the same with Tony. So one cool thing in the self-education industry, or even whatever industry you're in, if you're prepared, if you plan, if you know it's coming, especially this industry, it'll exponentially grow because more people will be home, more people will want help, more people will want to learn from people who've already been through it, whether that's helping your relationship through a shifting time, or selling, or living, or loving, or coaching, or mindset. When the world shifts, people reach out for help. And in today's world, they're not reaching out for help in their local college, they're reaching out to people like you. That's just the way it is. This industry will not, in my opinion, because I've been through 1999 and I was through 2007, both times this industry, the self-education industry, exponentially grew. So that's a cool thing. But here's the cool part. People's industries that aren't growing, or if they're going through a tough time, they need us, and we get to serve them at the highest level while fueling our business. I hope I'm not here to scare you. I think Jim Rohn and Tony both said, and maybe it was just Tony, that when winter comes, some people freeze and are hungry, and other people snowboard and ski. during winter. And it's those that know it's coming, those that can prepare, can ski and snowboard, and we can help others. So if I say it, please know, I think you know, especially those of you who've been with me for so many years, I hope you know in my heart, I am not the guy that says, well, it's going to hell in a handbasket, good luck. It's like, I would just rather be prepared. Last night I stayed up, I could not shut my brain off of saying, what can I do to personally prepare more? And what can I do to help prepare the people who have faith in me and want to learn?
Rule number 4 is learn from your mistakes.
Whatever you believe in, I think you make a mistake and you keep doing it, it's like, but you make a mistake, even if you make it 2 or 3 times, but finally one day you learn from it and decide to never do that again. I think that's what life is. You deserve a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth chance. I don't want you to think I got this all figured out. You don't have to have it figured out. And it's okay if you screwed up. Excuse my language, if you f***ed up more than once, a whole bunch of times. If you let people down, if you hurt someone. I don't believe you're a bad person. I believe you made a bad decision. We can loathe in it. We could focus on what we did wrong or what other people did wrong to us, or we could say enough is enough. Today is the decision. I did wrong in the past, or someone did me wrong, but that is the past. I'm going to learn from those mistakes. I'm going to model somebody who's doing it right. And damn it, I am bringing that into my life, 0 questions. When I made that decision, I manifested the relationship I'm in. So many people look at Lisa and I, they're like, oh, you two got so lucky. Screw that, it wasn't. Look, I decided who I was gonna be with. I wrote down who was not acceptable. I wrote down everything that was a must and everything that was unacceptable. Somebody who, talks about the glass half empty, somebody who talks about other people, someone who's not into their health, someone who's not sociable, like all these things. And I just decided to do nothing else except that. Unacceptable, acceptable. And I brought that into my life, and so did she. And I remember thinking to myself, you don't deserve another chance. You had it and you blew it. Go get a job, settle. It's like this inner villain, right, that I write about in Millionaire Success Habits, wanted to tell me to do that. But guess what? Somehow I found a way that I said, I deserve a second chance. I deserve a 5th chance. And I learned from those mistakes. I modeled people like you're doing right this minute that were more successful than me. I realized there was no magic money machine. It was all these little fundamentals that we teach month after month right here. I started compounding that, and I'm blessed to be here right now with you at the most successful time of my life. I want to say this. If you are down and out right now, you deserve a second and third chance. If your business is doing okay, or you're getting ready to start your business, or just starting off doing okay, you deserve for that to be a monster. If your business is thriving, like some of you, I know so many of you on here who are crushing it, it's time for your next level. You deserve this. You're ready for this. And if your business is crushing, but your health sucks, if your business is crushing and your relationship is if you're more excited about being out on the road and seeing strangers than the person at home, we gotta fix that shit. Seriously. I was aligned in so many parts of my life except for my relationship. And now I can't tell you how it feels to be congruent in all areas of my life. So when we're here, do I want you to make more money? A ton more. Give it all away if you want. Impact the world. Do I want you to have more freedom? More than anything. More control of your time? Yes. But I'd love for you to take all these pieces and balance each area of your life because you deserve it.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there.
Rule number 5 is change your story.
Sometimes, without realizing, our brain says, I thought we'd be further ahead by now. Maybe it's too late. I am getting kind of older. I don't have the energy I used to have, right? I'm too old. I'm too young. I'm too broke. I'm not enough. Ooh, that's a big one. It's too hard. No one supports my dreams. It takes money to make money. It takes more support. It takes more time. Listen, I don't know what the story is, and maybe you guys could share some of the stories, but if you really think back at some of the thoughts, when things get tough, when you want to go for it, listen, I'm not talking about, let's just say it like it is, I'm not talking about you doing the things that are easy for you. We teach people, for those of you who are new, my obsession, my partner Tony Robbins and I, we teach people, a lot of my family members are in here in our Project Next and mastermind.com. We teach people how to be in the knowledge industry, right? Sometimes people will do the easy part, like create their site, create the logo, create all the training, and have this beautiful site. And it's like how to cure diabetes naturally, or how to sell better, love better, find love, how to get through menopause easier, all these great things. Because that part aligns with who they are, they can do it really quick. But then it's like, ooh, I got to start posting on social media and my friends and family are going to find out, or ooh, I think I got to shoot a video. And all of a sudden, that story is, I'm not that good. I might not be good on camera. My friends will think I'm nuts. This won't work. And all of a sudden, I'm too old. I don't know how to use this technology. All of those things start coming in. Without realizing it, you're subtly backing up and you're playing a little bit small. And those stories, as you get more successful, they're always there. At every level, we have to identify. I want you to hear me. I went from the brokest kid in my school to doing better than I ever thought possible, okay? Along that whole journey, I want to tell you, there's always a story screwing me up that I have to identify and throw out and be like, oh my God, I can't believe that one's still here. That I'm not smart enough, that people are going to figure out that I'm not the smartest guy in the room, and all these things. And once you identify the story, it sticks out like a sore thumb. I promise you there's a story or a thought pattern that helped really ingrain it in you. And I'm going to encourage you, please try to find that story, uproot it. You have to identify it, and you got to write it down. Because once you write it down, you can say, I know my enemy, right? That story. Listen, someone asked me in a podcast about a year ago, if you could meet your 17-year-old self and tell them anything, you only had a moment to talk to your 17-year-old self, what would you say? I'd say, change your story, change your life. What's going to hold you back is the story around why you can or why you can't. Henry Ford said, if you think you can, you will. If you think you can't, you won't. And that, you got to realize that subtle story sometimes is not the big, you can't, you're too old, you're horrible, you're this. It's like, do you really think that'll work? Do you really think I'm smart enough? Do you think the tech is too high? Do you think I could really have, love like that really doesn't exist. Being 50, can you really get in good shape? It only takes this tiny little story for you to back out enough to play small enough that it's self-fulfilling.
Rule number 6 is stop worrying.
When you worry, it robs you of your full potential. I want you to get really upset with worry right now. Think about in your life the things that you've worried about that didn't come true, that caused you a lot of angst and anxiety. Have you ever been in a relationship that you worried about for years? Have you worried about a job for years? Have you worried about things going wrong for years? Did you worry about the last presidential election and what it was going to do to you? Did you worry about when the economy shifted, even if you got hit bad? I'm bringing this up because worry has robbed so much of your life, even if you're not the person considered a worrywart. It just has. And when you think of it that way, I want you to get disturbed and pissed at worry, because we get to create what goes on in our lives. I know that's a big statement, but our consciousness, whatever, if you want to use the word consciousness, our thoughts, what we think about on a daily basis, whatever word terminology that fits you, that's what causes us stress and worry, or what causes us to focus on another level. So what has worry cost you? This is casual. We're all sitting here today, and I encourage you to write down some of the things in your life that worry has cost you. What did you worry about that didn't come true? What did you worry about that did come true and you were still okay? What did you worry about that came true? It sucked going through it, but when you looked on the other side, you wouldn't change it for anything in the world because it made you a better person. It made you stronger, faster, quicker. Where is the smoothest stone in the stream? It is always in the roughest part of the stream. right? Those who stand at the rocks that are on the sidelines never get any water on them. They're fine, but they're rough. You want to live abundantly, you need to jump in the toughest part of the stream. Worry is going to happen.
Rule number 7 is stay engaged.
Once you craft your compelling future, why not read it every day? Why not look at it every single day of your life? Because it's your life, and we only got one shot. If you know where you are and you know where you want to go, the third thing is why. If you guys know my journey, but you know this story, this is an exercise I've been doing for 20 years of my life. Why? Why are you here? Why do you want to go from where you are to where you want to be? Why do you want to empower your girls, work from home, live into your full potential? Why? You see, we all think we want what we know, but a lot of times, especially those of you who are new, sometimes you got to dig under the hood and really get it out of your head, get out of your head and get into your heart. And when you attach that emotion to the why, oh my God, that's the secret. The secret of this whole thing is stay engaged, learn from people who've already been there. Stay engaged, take uncomfortable action, and lead with your heart. Get out of that logical mindset. It's not logical that you could be happy every day. It's not logical that a broke kid from upstate New York with 9 marriages and dyslexia and no college could have more success than I could ever imagine possible. It's not logical. Get out of your logical head. Get into your heart. Your heart can accomplish anything. Model those that have already been there. Stay connected and let your heart be your driver, not your thoughts. And when your thoughts do, use all the other stuff we trained and what's in Accelerated Success for you to get the right thoughts. But let your heart lead.
Rule number 8 is learn to sell.
When people want to enter the knowledge industry, the self-education industry, sell what they know, the biggest thing they say is, how do I know my niche? How do I know what to sell? Listen, in most cases, what you're selling, the asset, the inventory lives in here, the mess you've been through, the evolution you've been through, the passion you have, the skill you have. The fact of the matter is this. You have an experience in life that can help somebody get from where they are to where they want to be because you've already been through that. So don't get overwhelmed with the delivery system. Identify what problem you could solve for other people. I promise you the internet allows you to tap in to exactly the people you need. I have to tell you, when people tell me marketing is hard, I want to say, go back when I started or my friend Tony Robbins started. We had to go in the infomercial business. There was no internet. There was no online. So when we wanted to create a course or a product, we had to get it printed, put it in the warehouse. We had to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on TV and have call centers and hope it worked. Marketing has shifted because you have access to the exact people who need your product, your course, your service, your mastermind, your workshop, your coaching program. So many people want to obsess on their product, their service, what they deliver, and you should. You should make it the best in the world so you love what you do. And then they spend 5 minutes on the marketing and they wonder why it doesn't work. You have to have marketing stamina. Marketing stamina is when you try something, it doesn't work, you try again. When that doesn't work, you try again. When that doesn't work, you try again. You don't say, TikTok doesn't work for me, or Facebook doesn't work, or YouTube doesn't work. They all work. You're just not working it. Marketing is the oxygen for every successful business. You know, the biggest question I get is marketing ethical. Oh my God, do you have an iPhone? They marketed to you. Do you have a house? Do you have an apartment? Do you have clothes? Do you have shoes? Everybody is marketed to you. Marketing is unethical if you sell something that hurts people. If you have a passion, a desire to serve people, you create a great product, you're actually obligated to ethically market, because if you build it, they will not come. When you convert sales into service in your mind, you will never sell again. Let me just ask you something. If you had a friend that wanted to quit smoking and you had a process to stop them to quit smoking, would you sell them with everything in your desire to get this in their hands so they stop smoking, or they stop drinking, or they stop gambling? Well, that's the same thing. If you have a product or service that can help impact someone's life, you have to switch your mind, flip it to become service, because the only way you could serve that person is to sell them what you have. People always ask me, how'd you get so successful in so many companies? First off, you don't see all the failures. But the success, the foundation of it is understanding that sales can be service. And if you don't learn how to sell and market ethically and effectively, you don't really have a business. You have a dream, you have a goal. To be an effective entrepreneur, or to launch your own product, or scale your own product, you have to incorporate sales. And the easiest thing to make sales a part of your life is to make sales a priority. I would say wherever you are in your startup or your company, double or quadruple the amount of effort and energy you put into your sales department, and shift them from just selling and bringing in money to impact and results you get for other people. Love what you do so much you feel bad if you don't learn to sell even better.
Rule number 9 is make a difference.
This was basically what Richard Branson told me. He said, but here's the cool part. If it serves you, give a lot of it away. Make a bunch of money, then help people. He has a charity called Virgin Unite. He pays all the bills on Virgin Unite, and all the rest of it goes to charity. So it's like I saw the happiness in his heart. I saw how everything was donated and dedicated to Virgin Unite. And it just made me realize that I need to put my oxygen mask on first. Get yourself secure. Don't feel bad about wanting to have a foundation that you're okay. If COVID ends in a month or 2 years, you're okay. If the world shifts again, you're okay. If the opposite, president gets elected, you're okay. Fix the economy in your home. Fix the mindset in this home. Don't let the wrong people give you bad advice to steer you off track. Don't let the inner villain be in control, the inner self-doubt. And go get yours. Go make an impact. Go make the money. Go launch the business, scale the business, or momentum that business through the freaking roof. Shift because the world is shift. Stay involved in a group like this. Be here. Take the knowledge. And then your oxygen mask is on. And then you get to help whoever you want. You get to impact lives. You get to make a difference. And we get to live into our full potential. And isn't that the greatest thing that we could say at the end of our lives?
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is take a courageous action.
We need to be more bold than ever before. We need to take courageous, uncomfortable action. Usually, I think we can all agree on this. Usually, our next level of income, impact, happiness, abundance, joy lives on the other side of the thing we're a little uncomfortable with. You guys agree on that? There are things in your business. Maybe you need to lean into your marketing because that's I love every other part of my business, but the marketing's weird, so you avoid it when actually if you faced it and you were bold and courageous, your next level of your business lives on the other side of you attacking the marketing. Right? Or making that first sale, or asking for the yes, or telling your family, I love you and I respectfully am okay with you disagreeing with my dreams, but I am going for it with zero hesitation and I don't give a shit what you think. I love you, but this is for me, not for you. That is bold. That could be scary, but your next level lives on the other side when you finally say that. And it might be scary, but let me ask you something. Hesitating, waiting for the perfect time. What does that already cost you? I want to tell you, when things are uncertain, like we're going to experience over the next 12 months, most people sit and freeze. You know, there's fight and flight, fight or flight. The third F is freeze. A lot of people are going to freeze. This is not a time to freeze. This is a time to be bold, to be courageous, to stop hesitating. As I said earlier, stop waiting for permission. Stop dimming your glow. There is no perfect time than right now. Take that bold, courageous, uncomfortable action because your family and the world need the best version of you right now. That's just it. I've doubted myself a million times. I felt like an imposter a million times. I've had my own family look me in the eye and say, stop being a dreamer, Dean. That's for other people. You didn't go to college. We don't come from that kind of money. You'll never be that. They don't say that when I land my own jet in my hometown and my whole family gets off my own plane, right? I don't say that to be a jerk. You don't even see me. Do you ever see me post a picture of my plane on my Instagram? I'm not the guy that holds up money or shows you in my plane or my house that's the house of my dreams. I don't do that. I don't want people to follow me because I hold stacks of money on a Facebook ad, right? I want people to know me for the heart I have. But I'm blessed to have more success than I ever could have dreamed possible. And I get to take care of the people I love. I got to put my own oxygen mask on years ago, and now I put it on a lot more people than you'd ever know. That's not all I donate to. We've done it in a lot of different areas. And this year, I want to donate, I don't know about the feelings you have, but who felt that in their heart when I shared what I was able to do? Right? Who in here has a desire to help other people once you're secure? Can I share something with you? And I want to share this today because it just feels on my heart. I'm going to tell you to be selfish. Be selfish. Be selfish for the next 3 years. Go get yourself strong. Go put your own oxygen mask on. Put some money in the bank. Crush your company. Be selfish with your time. Be selfish with your income. Be greedy on the amount of money you want to make. I'm telling you, be greedy, be selfish. You know why? Because if you go all in, if you stop thinking, I wish I could do more, be more, go all in and make the money. Get secure and put your oxygen mask on, and what you can do in 5 years from now, what you can do in 7 years from now, what you could do in 12 years from now is unbelievable. But we need this moment of us. We need this moment of getting ourselves. So many of you I see right now are the most giving people you've ever, anyone knows. You're the person that gives the most. You know what you're doing? You're putting oxygen masks on everybody else and you can barely breathe. You're out there helping everybody. Let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. And you're barely breathing. You're like, here's an oxygen mask. Here's an oxygen mask. When you need to hold it to your face. I love the story of Andrew Carnegie, right? What did Andrew Carnegie at a certain pace of his life? You know what he said? I'm going to spend the first half of my life making a ton of money. And I'm going to spend the second half of my life giving it all away. If he would have felt guilty, if he would have not went for it, he never would have got to the ability to do the things that he was able to do with his money. I'm telling you, be greedy, be selfish, so you could be the least greedy and the least selfish for the long run, right? What does Tony always say? And I think he got it from Jim Rohn, who probably got it from somebody else. But we all overestimate what we can do in a year, and we underestimate what we can do in 5. Who in here in 5 years from now would love to sit down with your family, like I was able to do this Christmas, right after Christmas, and say, as a family, we have X amount of dollars that we want to help people. What do you guys want to do? How does that, I don't know, maybe that doesn't ring a bell for everybody. It rang a bell for me. And my wife's like, oh my God, I want to help kids. And my daughter was like, I want to help this. There's too much separation in our world right now. Who can we help out to help bond our communities, bond the people, become the human race? My son had his idea. I'm like, okay, what do you want to spend? Go online, find a great company, find somebody that's got 5-star rating, go, come back to the table. Who are we going to donate money to? How does that feel? What does that do for your soul right now? What does that do for your heart right now? Is that bigger than anything else? But I'm telling you, don't do that until your mask is on. That's the part we all want to do. Who wants to do that? Who wants to donate more, give more, impact more, right? But I'm not saying you shouldn't help out now. If you don't donate $1 million out of 10 million, you won't donate, if you won't donate $1 out of $10, you won't donate $1 million out of 10 million. We can do things now, but be more selfish, more greedy with your time, your money, and all of it right now. Put your focus on you, put your focus on being successful, because then in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, you get to cut checks and make an influence. Who am I when no one's watching? I don't want to say I want to be the best man to my wife, but I'm doing crap on my phone when no one's watching. I don't want to say I'm be a good dad and show a picture on Instagram with me and my kids, but not really listening to them and spending more time on my phone than being with them. I don't want to say that I want to create independence and donate money and build family security and leave a legacy, but I'm binging out on Netflix on the weekend or drinking too much every time I get sad, just to default to that rather than do it. I want to be congruent. I want to make it so, and I'm surely not perfect at this, but I want to make it though, if you had a hidden camera on me for 6 months, there'd only be a few congruencies. And that's success to me. And I'd love for you to think about that. This could be the beginning of a new you, a beginning of not playing small, a beginning of not feeling bad about what you want out of life. But there are key principles that really, if they're not a part of the ingredients, the cake's never baked. I want to share a little bit, just in 3 minutes, my backstory. And I think it's important, not because I want you to know about me, but I hope it relates to you. We all have the thing that drives us. You're all here for a reason. You're either running away from something that's not so good, something a little painful, right? Or you want to run towards a bigger life. There's something in your life that's uncomfortable and you want to move away from that job, from that relationship you're in, from being dependent on someone else to show the world to be the woman that God designed you to be or the man God designed you to be. Something just doesn't align with you and you want to move away from that. Or life's not bad. Things are okay, but you're meant for more. You're called to serve more, be more, do more, donate more. right? 100% of you are here for one or the other reasons, and most of you here are both. You want to move away and then move towards, right? We didn't have money as a kid. We all got our story, not poor me, just this is my story. But what really was my muse, my motivation was my mom. She worked 3 jobs. My parents split when I was 3. Dad's a good guy, but he never helped us financially. And my mom worked as a hairstylist and cleaned houses and painted houses. 3 jobs to make nothing, come home 9 o'clock every night, always tired, and come home to our trailer, right? I lived in the only trailer park in our little town. My sister and I watched my mom work her tails off to where she got arthritis at a young age and her back always hurt. So I just remember being 10 or 11 saying, I'm just going to get rich. I don't know how, but I'm going to get rich and take care of that woman who sacrificed so much, you know? So we all need that driver. So for me, that was it. So I started cutting firewood at a young age. I started fixing wrecked cars, and I got into my first real estate deal. Then I got a tow truck company. I started building houses. I started doing all these things, and I started getting some real good momentum in my mid-20s. By the time I was 30, I retired my mom, retired my dad. I got to do some of these really cool things. But around 27 years old, something really shifted my life. I saw Tony Robbins on TV in an infomercial, and this big guy, I felt like he was talking directly to me, and there was something I had never done up until that time in my life. I paid for information. And I remember my dad saying to me, are you nuts? You paid for a guy to talk to you? He's like, I'll talk to you for free. And I felt like saying, yeah, but if I listen to you, I'll get married 4 times and divorced like you are and always struggling financially. I love you, Dad, but if I listen to you, I think I'll get what you have. So I cut a check to Tony Robbins, and I won't go super long on it, but it fundamentally shifted me because I hadn't read books up until that point. I had some success in my life. I surely did, but I had it in a kind of a hosed up way. Anybody ever have success in your life, but you know it's not healthy, right? You're just moving away from pain so much that it doesn't feel congruent with who you are. And I devoured what I bought from Tony. I learned that I could craft a new story, that I could have different beliefs, that I could use my past as my fuel. I learned that life happens for us, not to us. I learned that I could focus on solutions. I don't have to listen to the naysayers, that they don't make statues of critics. They make statues of the crazy people, the dreamers. I could focus like Eric was saying. I could set an intention and spend all my energy looking at that and screw all the things that weren't working. I learned all this stuff, but it did 2 things to me. It really fundamentally shifted my life. But secondly, I was like, damn, that gave Tony money. He gave me information. It shifted my life. I want to be in that business. So for me, it shifted my mindset, but it also shifted my career path. And in 1998, I did my first information product and then an infomercial on TV. I only did an infomercial because there was no internet back then. For those of you that are a little younger, everybody's like, why would you and Tony have done infomercials? Because there was no internet. There wasn't even AOL dial-up when I started, right? So I share that with you because it was such a fundamental shift. I account masterminds, workshops, live events. I've spent literally over $1 million between hosting them or attending them in my life. And truly, I believe it's my unfair advantage because in my 20s, I always thought you had to learn on your own. Like I have to figure this out. I just got to work harder. I know you've heard this before, harder or smarter. It's the combo. You got to work smarter and you still got to work hard. We all have our own journey, but I would hold on to the belief that I'm not that smart because I struggled in school. I had dyslexia and, barely got out of 7th grade, and then high school, barely got out of high school and didn't go to college and didn't come from money. And there's nobody super smart, nobody super rich in my family, and none of my family ever went to college. So that stuff just lingers in there. I don't know where it lives, but that crap is in there and it can bubble up really easily. And here's what I just want to share. I was scared of all of it. I was scared at every level. I was fearful of failing. Listen, when my sister sat me down when I wanted to be an entrepreneur and wanted to go to the next level and said, hey, I love you and you're doing great, but that's for other people, right? That's not our family. And my dad thought he was protecting me and friends told me I was crazy. Of course that makes you go, yeah, maybe I'm too old. Maybe I'm too young. Maybe I'm not that smart. No, it takes money to make money. It takes a degree from MIT or from Stanford. We can tell ourselves so much crap. Yeah. And I get that. And it never goes away. So there's a positive message for your family here is like, it never goes away, but it's okay. It's not about it going away. It's about recognizing that voice may be there to protect you like a protective mother, but it's wrong. We don't run from saber-toothed tigers anymore. So when you go out to venture into a new thing, or you want to launch on Instagram and you want to start doing cool videos and get promotion and get marketing or sell or actually ask for money or any of those things, you start getting nervous and your brain says, no, let's not do it. It's scary. Since we're not running from saber-toothed tigers anymore, we're like afraid of putting ourselves out there, right? Here's what I want to share is, what if you could shift that and you found a way to be comfortable with the uncomfortable? Know that your life is flat unless you're pushing yourself. Because here's what I know. We all have, and I wrote a book a decade ago and I labeled it. This is how important it is to me. I labeled, we have an inner villain that's like, you're not good enough. No one's going to listen to you. Your husband doesn't support you. Your spouse doesn't support you. Your partner thinks this is crazy. Your mom thinks you're nuts. You should be happy with what you got. We all have that voice.
Yes.
But we all have an inner hero that says, no, I could freaking do anything I put my mind to. When they told me I couldn't, I could. When they told me I was crazy, I realized they don't make statues of critics. They make statues of crazy people like me. Anything I put my mind to, I can do. I can overcome that voice. You just have to feed the right one. Feed the inner hero, and it will put the villain in a box. Every once in a while, it pokes its head out, and you punch it back down. And how do you do that? Sometimes it's like, well, Dean, that sounds good. You figured it out. But it's simple. Find your own leverage. You want to know leverage from me? I heard somebody say this. I think it was Ed Milet. Said a version of this, but this is what I think about, the kinds of things I've been thinking about forever. What is scarier? Feeling like an imposter, putting yourself out there where an old friend goes, oh my God, why are you doing that weird stuff on Instagram? This doesn't, like, or your spouse looking at you or your partner looking at you and going, you really want to put yourself out there like this or do this thing? That could be scary. Maybe you failed in the past. That could be scary. Maybe you don't understand technology so well. That could be scary. What's scarier though? That or being at the end of your life and your maker, whatever you believe is your maker, I believe in God. What if at the end of your life, God played you a video of the woman or man you could have been? I don't know, which one's scarier?
By far the
Having
second.
a friend go, I can't believe you're doing that on Instagram, or your maker saying, you kind of played small, and you're like, oh my God, please let me go back. I don't think we get a second shot. So are you gonna listen to that silly voice that's already cost you way too much enough? That voice, excuse my language, that crappy voice has already cost you too much. Just don't let it. My kids are in 7th and 9th grade. Can I be honest with you? I can't do either of their math. I can't. My daughter needs help in math. I sat down last night and I watched what she's doing. I have zero clue. I even went in the other room. I went in my home office and I YouTubed it and said, I'm gonna watch YouTube. I'm gonna figure it out. And then I'm gonna go help my daughter. I watched them training it on YouTube. I'm like, why would I? No, I'm not. I can't. I'm not. I just can't. Right? The dumbest thing in the world, I'm just telling you, is to work on your weaknesses. Then you get to be okay at a lot of things. The biggest strength in your life is to get amazing at what you're already good at. Listen, I'm not trying to say me. I still can't read very well. I go through a book, at least a book a month, probably a book every 2 weeks. Why? Because I listen. I'm really good. I can listen to a book and remember every piece of it. Every day I listen to a book, every single day. If you ask me to read a book, my ADD kicks in. I have dyslexia. The words as I read them, they just don't sink in. They don't stick, right? I still can't read well. If I typed you an email and sent it to you before spell check, you'd be like, I'm never following this fool ever again. He's an idiot. I cannot spell. I try to articulate and use bigger words. I have a tiny little vocabulary. And then when I try to go past my vocabulary and use a word I've never used, and I try to spell it 4 times and it keeps coming up red, like if spell check could talk, it'd be like, you idiot, what are you trying to spell? I have no clue what you're talking about. Spell check can't even find the word, and then I just go back to something I know. Excited, like I don't know, like I can't spell, I can't read. I don't know my 7th and 9th grade children's math. I couldn't figure it out if you gave me $1 million. I cannot figure it out. I don't know. And there's 100 other things I suck at. And when I was a kid, I thought I was inferior because I couldn't read well, because I had dyslexia. And when your teacher tells you you're dumb, just sound it out. You're like, I am dumb. I'll never be anything. It was the biggest lie I'd ever been told. We were judged by an outdated scorecard. My daughter has been gifted with the same exact way in school. School's a little tough for her. My son, he got my dad's smarts. He's on the principal's list. He's got a 3.97 GPA average. He's unbelievable. He'll help his 2-year-old older sister do her homework. He's unbelievable. My daughter struggles a little bit. And I told her, who cares? My daughter has more emotional intelligence for a 9th grader I've ever met in my entire life. She's got more common sense than anyone I've ever met in my life. And I tell her, I'm like, Bree, I can't do your math, so you're better off there. You're way better looking than I was. You're like, I go through all these things. I'm like, and you suck at a few things. Who cares what you're good at? I said, your father sucks at way more things. But what I'm really good at is I care about people. I love going really deep. I love communicating on camera. I love storytelling. I love changing people's lives. I love marketing. I love impacting people's lives. I love people to say yes so I could serve them. I love putting compassion before envy and ego. I got really good at those, and I get to live a life where I can buy a plane and not have to tell anybody, and take care of retire my mom and my dad. I get to give away, we're 12 million meals through Feeding America. We're building schools in Africa. We're doing cool things. We're helping kids come out of slavery. Like, I get to do all this stuff, live the life of my dreams, and I still have a 7th grade reading level, and obviously a 5th grade math level. Just being honest. And you don't have to be good in the same shit I am. You have to be good in what you're good at. And what I want to share, and I want to tell you right now, working on your weaknesses robs your confidence. Go out and get amazing at what you're already good at, and then pay somebody to do the stuff you suck at. That is the evolution. I want to go over an exercise that I've done hundreds of times in my life. One that maybe you've heard before, maybe you've done a variation of it. But I want you to have complete clarity in this shifting world. Again, the world is opening back up. It may never be exactly the way it was, but I know this, a lot of people are going to be left behind, and a lot of people are going to thrive. And what's the difference? 2 things. Having the tactics, the tools, and the ingredients that show you how to thrive, to create success, to impact the world, to be a part of an industry that's a revolution, that's growing. You need those tools and tactics, but we also have to go upstream and anchor in those reasons why. So we have an emotional attachment, or else we'll just give up and just wait for someone else to fix it. And then you'll lose ownership. And I don't think that's acceptable to any of us. So before we get to some tools and tactics, let's go upstream a little. And let's talk about this clarity exercise that I've been doing for over a decade, hundreds of times, and I want to give it to you. And it starts with you being completely honest with yourself on where you are right now in history. Where are you after COVID? Where are you that the world has changed? Where are you with your confidence? Where are you with your income? Where are you with your career? Where are you with your happiness around those things? Where are you with your relationship? Where are you with your health, your connection to a higher power? There's lots of things we can use this tool for to get completely honest, because let's just say it like it is. All change starts when you're brutally honest, that you're disturbed by standing still. You're disturbed by inaction. Think about it. That's how we move. That's how the rocket gets off the ground, is being disturbed with leaving your life the way it is. So unfortunately, you're like, oh, now I'm listening to this podcast and I'm going to get disturbed. Yes, because if you're agitated, you move, right? So let's pick your career, your income, what you do for a living. Where are you with that? Are you happy with your career? Are you happy with the business that you started? Are you happy that you started the business, but it's not really going where you want? Listen, we all make decisions for one of 2 reasons. We're either moving away from something painful, or we want to move towards something pleasurable, right? We either have to get out of this job, or we lost our job, or it's just toxic, or it's not making me the money. I have to move. Or it's okay. It's not bad, but you know you have another level. You know God designed way more for you than you're doing. And the inaction of either one of those should disturb you, either away from the pain or towards the pleasure. So at any time, you could stop and write this down, or come back at another time, or type it in your phone. If you were being completely honest about your income, your career, what you do for a living, starting the business or not, any of those, If you were completely honest, where are you? Because all change starts with a starting point, right? All directions on your GPS, you need the starting point. Where are you is the starting point. Now that the world has shifted. Sometimes, things like COVID pull back the curtain and make us really analyze our lives. And we don't want to go back to who we used to be. I get it. I see it every day. Okay, the next thing, if you know where you are now, then we have to decide, where do you want to go now, right? Now, where do you want to go? That sounds like an obvious question. I want more success. I want more happiness. I want more joy. If it's not defined, if it's fuzzy targets don't get hit. We need a definitive plan. We need to know exactly what our compelling future is. We need that lighthouse to drive towards. And what is that for you? Most people know what they don't want. That's just the true story. Most people know what they don't want. They're avoiding potholes. They're driving away from problems, but they're not driving towards where they want to go. If you and I jumped in an elevator together and I said to you, hey, it's a year from now and it was the best year of your life, what's that look like? Where do you want to go? Would you be able to literally in 4 or 5 sentences tell me where it is you want and where you want to go? Or would you go, wow, good question, Dean. Let me think about it, because that's what 90% of the people say. I've been asking people for over a decade. Good question. Let me think about it. How do you know? How can you get to where you want to go if you don't have your GPS on where it is you want to be? So here's what you do. Let's pretend it's a year from now and it's been the best year of your life. Not looking forward through the year. It's a year you're looking backwards and like, oh my God, I feel amazing. I look amazing. My confidence, my courage is through the roof. I'm vibrating. My cheeks are rosy. I'm alive again. What had to happen for that to be the case? How much money are you making? What industry are you in? Did you quit something? Did you start something? Did you scale something? Right? Of course you should do this with your relationships, your life, your health, relationship with your children. All of that matters, but pick one for now. Where are you? If we're going career, income, what you do, starting, scaling the business, where are you with that? It's a year from now. It's the best year of your life. Are you in the information industry and you're selling products, 100 of them a month, making $10,000 a month? I don't know what it is. Or are you impacting lives? You're really changing those that need it. You're selling yourself through service. You're helping people go faster. Or you finally got that company off the ground. Or that invention is working. Or you're leading a team. I don't know what it is, but you do. So stop this video, stop this audio at any time you want. And really decide, if it was a year from now and it was the greatest year of your life, what does it look like? You can bucket it: career, income, your business. You could do health and life and love and happiness and your relationship with God. You could do all of them. But this really helps us create the bridge, right? We're on one side of the ravine. That's where we are. Our next level of where we want to go is on the other side of the ravine. Now, before we get to how to get over there, we have to build the enthusiasm, the energy, the stamina to not quit until we get over where it is we want to go. So if we know where we are and then we know where we want to go, the next most important thing and the most important thing to shift your life is, why do you want it? Why do you want to have more freedom? Why is it that you want to sell more courses, sell more training, start the business, scale the business, make more money? Why? Is it just to have financial freedom? Not usually. Is it just to have money in the bank? Not usually. Is it just to get the Lamborghini and the Rolex? Not usually. It's always way deeper than that. You don't know it until you feel it ding your heart, till your heart goes, oh, it crunches, it aches, you feel it ping. When you feel that, you know you're in your true why. For me, when I dug into this decades ago, I realized my true why was that I didn't want to go backwards. I didn't like being broke as a kid. I didn't like wearing hand-me-downs. I didn't like go to school sometimes and not have lunch money and pretend I wasn't hungry. I didn't like watching both my parents work hard. 3 jobs, my mom 3 jobs, my dad 2 jobs, to not have anything. I'm not going back there. I don't like it. There was nothing good about it. Money was the thing that ruled my parents. I feel blessed that by the time I was 32, I retired both my mother and my father. What a blessing I was able to do that. But I don't want to go backwards, and I'll fight for that. I also want my kids to have choices. I don't want 2 entitled children, 3 entitled children. My little one, Luca, is a year old right now. I don't want entitled children or brats, but I want my kids to have choices, because I didn't feel like I had choices as a kid. So for me, it doesn't mean this is your why. This is my why. This is the one that dings my heart. But my main reason Why I want next level success and abundance and impact the world and make a difference is because I want to be in control of my life. One of the biggest things we always get is the whole imposter syndrome or I'm not good enough, right? But what if your children or your hypothetical children grew up and felt like imposters? What if they felt they weren't good enough? What if they let self-doubt push them into a job they hate, but they thought, well, my mom took this job and she stuck with it. She stuck with it for 42 years and she put us through college and she took care of us. If my mom could do that, then you know what? I'm not that happy with this, but I kind of feel like an imposter, so I'm just gonna stick with it. When I say that, does that give anybody else like the hair stand up in their arms of like, no, screw that. If my daughter came to me and said, hey dad, I love you, good to see you this weekend. How's it going, babe? Well, you know, I got that job and well, I heard you wanted to have your own art company and be a designer and design companies and all that stuff. Yeah, Dad, but you know, I didn't get the best grades in school and you know, I don't want people to think I'm just living off your coattails, so it's okay. I took that job. You know, it's a good job, great benefits. If I saw her with that kind of expression on her face, I would die. I would die. Like, are you freaking kidding me? Life's too short. It goes by in a second. Like, you don't realize it now, but how fast is time going right now, right? Like, we don't have time for that. And if we feel like the imposters, if we allow that to dominate our space, that's what we're giving out to the world. We're letting people know it's okay to let self-doubt, to let past accomplishments create this imposter syndrome to say you're not good enough. And even if you think it's not a part of you, in so many cases it is. Because if you're not moving forward as fast as you think, there's still one area of your life you think you need to get better at. You may never get better at it, and that's okay. If you could go, and really think about this, if you could go spend a day with your 20-year-old self, you had a week to prepare, and then you could go back and spend a day with your 20-year-old self, what would you say and how much would that be worth to you right now? Really think about that. Not like really visualize that. It would be, I already know, people say priceless or millions. That's the only answer we ever get, because you know how much you could help avoid the mistakes. How maybe you protect your heart and find true love, or start the business sooner, or realize you have more self-worth. Only you know what you would say to your 20-year-old self. But secondly, there's somebody, potentially millions of people out there right now, starting off on something you've already learned, an experience you've already went through, a mess that you've already accomplished, right? And the value of that is priceless. I'm going to give you a quick example. We've been helping people for a couple of years now. We've been in it for 60 years, but helping people for about 3 years. We have over 40,000 students in 150 plus countries with 4,700 different unique niches and different things they teach. But I was on the other day with one of our high-level students, and her name is Cyrene, and she was in business, and she got next level training from Tony and I and thought she was going to help women in business. But when she got the course, she's like, you know what I really want to help people with? She went through menopause, and she said it was a disaster. I could have no idea what that means as a man. But she said she gained weight. She had night sweats. And she said the worst part, her mind, she thought her husband was going to leave her. She thought she wasn't pretty anymore. She said she felt just crazy. And after feeling that, she said, enough, I can't. She read the books and went to specialists, and she obsessed on it for a few months and cured her night sweats, felt beautiful again, got her mind back, flourished her relationship. She goes, I realized I didn't know before I talked to you and Tony that there are millions of women going through menopause that don't have this knowledge. So she's created a course and a training to help women go through menopause naturally, following her 7-step framework. Who doesn't have a life experience? And the fact of the matter is, probably 20 years ago, people would say, I'm going through this, I need to go to a doctor. Now, in today's world, people say, I'm going through this, let me go find someone who already did and found a way. And they find Cyrene. So if you think you don't have something, you're wrong. And that's why Tony and I do things like the Own Your Future Challenge, just to show people for free, like, you have this valuable asset. Let us help you unlock it and give it back to the world. We all have our stories, right? We all have our backstory. We all have the thing that brought us to this moment. I can remember so many things in life that were a millimeter away from derailing me, right? I think I remember in my 20s, I was running away from a childhood without money and watching my parents get married and divorced a lot, and some days going to school without lunch money. And I had dyslexia, so I wasn't the best in school. And I can remember having two voices in my head, I don't know, probably as young as 7th grade. I can remember being in 7th grade with Mrs. Thompson, who was my special ed teacher, because I had dyslexia really bad. And I remember going to her classroom. Remember the special ed room? Listen, most of you walked by the special ed. I was the kid in it. I was the kid in there. And Mrs. Thompson always used to yell at me, just sound it out. Are you dumb? Are you stupid? Just sound it out. And I can remember being in that room having trouble reading because my dyslexia was so bad. And I can remember all the way back in 7th grade saying to myself, wow, I'm never gonna amount to anything because I don't get to be one of the smart kids. I can't read as easy as everybody else. I don't like school. I feel like just not even showing up here. And then there was another part of me in 7th grade that was like, screw her calling me stupid. I'm gonna make more money in a day than she makes in a year someday. Does anybody remember having those two voices? Sometimes we still have those voices like, screw you, I'm not too old, I'm not too young, I don't need money, I don't need education, I can freaking do anything I put my mind to. Don't you love it when we have days like that? And then there's the other days and go, wow, with this government, with this craziness, with this separation, with this recession, with this inflation, with a husband that doesn't have my back when I need him to have my back, with friends that think I'm crazy, maybe I should just be lucky or fortunate for what I have. Don't we all have that crap story, those stories going on inside of ourselves always? Well, I want to tell you, I want to make sure the story that tells you you're meant for more, you could be more, you could do more, is the one in charge. There's a difference between motivation and transformation. You can go watch a 7-minute YouTube video of, Nelson Mandela or other amazing people, and you can be inspired and motivated. I want to motivate you today. So I'll be transparent. I want to inspire you today. I want to get you to take uncomfortable action. I want you to commit to yourself that you will not allow yourself to give up on the man or the woman God designed you to be. But I don't want to just motivate you today. I don't want to just inspire you today. I want you to have the tools to transform today. And if it sounds like I'm being a little cocky or overly confident, maybe I am. Because I've been here. I was telling you a little bit, for those of you who don't know my story, I'm not gonna go back a long story, I'll just tell you, I had both of those voices. And my parents were married and divorced 9 times between the two of them, and I did move 20 times by the time I was 19 years old, and I used to go to school without lunch money. And I remember being that kid that said, wow, I guess this is my life. But I also remember thinking, no, there's other people who've been where I am, and they've achieved incredible stuff. And I'm not gonna settle, because I am meant for more. And if I wanna be more, I gotta do more. I gotta have different thoughts. I have to have different capabilities. I have to do things different than my parents did. I love my parents, but I had to do something different. I had to be different. And sometimes if you're on this group, you are the different one in the crowd. There should be, everybody in your family should be here. Who in here invited a friend that probably won't show up because they think, you don't need that stuff, I'm just gonna work hard. Does working hard alone get you the dream you want? You all probably work hard, but we need to work the right way. We need to break through new layers. We need to take new uncomfortable action, gain new capabilities. I started changing the people I was hanging around. I started not listening to the people who were telling me what could go wrong, and I found people who did it right. The same stuff I teach in business. Wow, oh my God, I wrote this in Millionaire Success Habits, but I do it in my personal life. Now I'm surrounding myself with people that went through this, and have thriving children, they're thriving parents. I go down and spend a day with my buddy Tony Robbins. He went through a little depression. He had to turn his ship into the storm. But on the other side is something so different. So all of a sudden, I had to find hacks, because here's what I realized. I couldn't think my way through this. And again, I'm going so deep on this, guys, because I really want you to think about the area. And you might have nothing in your life that you have to face, but most of us do, right? So I had to find a way, because I couldn't think myself through the process. I was trying to just visualize a bigger future. And I can do that in most things, but in this case, it wasn't enough. This was like a deep anchor. Right? So now I start doing the research. I'm like, what can change my brain? Sometimes you need something physical to change your brain. You need to do something. So after a bunch of research, I'm gonna tell you some of the stuff I did. After being with Tony, who's a dear friend and checked up on me and gave me some amazing advice, Dr. Amen, so many other loving people in my life, that I reached out to people who could fix it rather than people who would tell me how bad it was gonna be. And I started a few things. I started meditating more. always dabbled, but I started meditating more. I started journaling. I would recommend to everybody that you journal and talk about, it doesn't have to be a big, long journal. It doesn't have to be perfect structure. Just at night, write about the day, write about the win, write about the thing that worried you the most. What I did, I was literally writing the win I would have for the day at night. I was sitting in my bed, literally, picture this, guys. You know me. You know what I've done. You know all the great stuff. I get to jump on private planes and fly to Japan and China and Australia and speak on stage with Tony Robbins with 15,000 people, all this amazing stuff. Then I go home at night and I'm living in the guest room. And I'm sitting in there with the lamp on, picture this, with my journal, trying to get my shit straight. It's real, as real as I can get. And I'm journaling the wins I had for the day and the things that affected my life that day. And all of a sudden, the journaling, you know what it did? It allowed me to see the things that steered me in the wrong direction. It allowed me to see the things that were, like I'd go back 3, 4, 5 weeks in my journal, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I let that derail me. And I started seeing a pattern of the things that derailed me and the things that gave me confidence and courage to go to another level. And I started doing more of those and less of this. I mean, I was like starting all over again. And you might have to experience this when it comes to success. You might have the same fears I do about starting your new business because of old fears, old challenges, old experiences, right? So the reason I'm doing it, so I start journaling, and then I start every single night, every single day, every night, every morning in my journal, I'm writing just 3 things I'm grateful for. Little things. And I'd write down, the dog was amazing today. I'm playing outside. She's such a cute dog. My son smiled at me after being grumpy, or I got to watch a baseball game or watch my daughter pitch. I start writing these down and I'm like finding myself again. As crazy as this sounds. Now, listen, again, so many of you have had 10 times worse experiences. I'm not trying to say, poor me. No, this was my journey. I'm doing this to inspire you to turn your ship towards the storm, right? So I started gratitude. I started journaling. Exercise. What I realized too, when it's hit me the hardest, I stayed away from exercise. So I'm like, I can't even think about exercise right now. When simultaneously, when you exercise, more oxygen goes to the brain, your endorphins are released. I needed exercise. I started exercising again on a regular basis. And then I started doing what I'm doing right now. I started talking about it. For the first 8, 9 months, I didn't tell anyone. This was my thing. I felt like a failure. I'm like, how can I do so much right in my life and I'm doing this wrong? I started talking about it. I started expressing it. I started to say it out loud. I started to not be embarrassed by it. I started to lean into it. I started not thinking as a failure, start thinking I could only be a failure if I screw this up and don't learn. And I also, like anything else, I stopped letting unqualified people give me even a hint of what was right and what was wrong. I won't listen. In fact, I want to tell you something where I'm at now. There were some friends in my life that told me, hey man, stay in the marriage, it doesn't work, it doesn't matter because you'll be so sad, your kids will be messed up. And when they saw me go through it, and I'm gonna talk where I am now, they're back and like, oh my God, you're so brave. I wanna fix my marriage. I need to fix it. Like instead of just ignore, I wanna fix, like they were saying it because they were in pain. And it was such a flashlight and a magnifying glass on everything because I realized the people who gave me advice is because they were miserable, because they were afraid to face their fear. And then since I did, all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, Dean, please tell me how you did it. Tell me how you got through it. And I was like, wow, I teach people this all the time, but now I get to see it firsthand because it's been so long since I've been in the business side. But so many people who tell you can't start your own business, it won't work, you're not qualified. It's because they're afraid, because they're scared, and they're projecting their fears onto you. Then here's the best part. I started observing my thinking. Now, I teach this all the time. I do it in business all the time. I observe my thoughts nonstop. But now I'm observing my thoughts for the things that take me down the wrong path rather than the right path. I started detecting thinking immediately and go, whoa, 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 I'm not going down that road. That road leads me to anxiety and fear. I won't be a good dad. I won't impact the world. I won't be a good example. No, I'm not going down that road. I'm going down this road. I started to catch myself when I was like the triggers that would put me in the wrong direction. And then all of a sudden, with that combo of all those things, I started redrafting my story. You know, I tell everybody all the time, what lives between you and the life you desire, besides the obstacle sometimes could simply be the story you tell yourself. If you tell yourself, I could make more money if I had money to invest in if somebody gave me money to invest in my company. I could do it if I lived in a different area. I could do it if I had a different spouse. I could do it if I had different parents. I could do it if I lived in a different area, if I had a different education, if I was smarter, faster, richer, wasn't stuck in a bad job. What stands between you and your next level of life is the story. The story that I had that was driving me mad, driving me to have anxiety, driving me to have fear, driving me to have emotions I've never had in my life was a really story. If I leave my kids, I'm gonna do what my parents did to me, I'm gonna screw their life up, and I'm gonna miss them so bad, I'll never be the same. Stop putting restrictions and limits on where you could go. The one thing I was blessed with is I think big. I am not afraid to go for big. Because here's what I know. The same stress same stress that puts on you for a $5,000 project or campaign, here's a little secret. It's the same stress in a $5 million campaign. There's no difference. So if I'm gonna be stressed out, might as well go big or go home. So stretch your thinking. Stop putting limits on yourself. Like, I don't have a lot of followers and I'm not that good on camera and I don't really know what I'd sell. So I'd be lucky if I could, if I could do $2,000 a month, like stop that. Just stop that restrictive thinking. Don't be a dreamer and think it's all gonna come overnight. It takes time. So one is stretch your limits. Number two, train yourself to want bigger problems. I know if I'm at a table with 10 people, I know the wealthiest person at the table, one thing I know about them, they solve bigger problems than the rest of the people at the table.
Good.
Problems don't go away. Hear me. People think once you're successful, I have more success than I ever imagined possible. I get to do things I never thought. We're beyond my dreams. Like I don't say that. You don't see me. If you follow me on Instagram, I don't show my house. I don't show my private plane. I don't show my houses in I don't show any of that because I don't want people to follow me because they think they're gonna get rich overnight. I want people to follow me because of who I am as a man, who I am as a father, who I am as a husband, who I am when I care and contribute and the value I give to the world, right? I just made that decision a long time ago. That I want people to follow me because they know I care and they know I have capabilities to be successful, right? But you have to train your brain to say, if I want more, then you got a problem, you bring it to me. I think just the level of, the threshold of problems that you have that puts you in I can't even move, will dictate how big your future is. If I see somebody cut someone off and someone flips them off when they're driving, or if I see somebody, they order steak and they ordered medium and it came medium well and they freak out, I'm like, never in a million years that person be successful. Their threshold for problems is too low. Like, I'm not being a jerk. But if I order well done meat and they bring me chicken, I eat it. Who cares? Who cares? If I order spaghetti and they bring me raviolis, I'm gonna have raviolis. Somebody cuts me off in traffic, I think to myself, maybe they're in more of a hurry than me. Have a good day. Like, I'm not saying I'm not perfect. I've just learned to say, I'm gonna solve problems, but I wanna solve $1 million problems.
Yes.
So, number one, stretch your thinking, solve bigger problems, train your DNA to be like, you got a problem, you bring that to me, I got this. Because all problems do, can I tell you, you know what is on the other side of your problem that you solve? A better version of you. That's just it.
Yeah.
A better version of you is on the other side of the problems you solve. Let's just talk about life. I created this thing I'm calling the success loop. And these loops happen, again, first time I've ever explained it, but I really want you to get into this thought process right now and go as tight as you can on us right now. These loops always happen. This loop is failure. Something went wrong. It didn't go right. So I'll get to it. I don't want to give too much away in advance. But I want you to think about any time in your life where it went sideways, where you had a hard realization or an incident. So I want to talk about this. A hard realization is, I hate my job. I can't do this another day. Enough is enough. I hate being broke. I'm done with it. I'm done struggling. I'm done feeling this way. I'm going after it. A hard realization could be in a relationship. I tried for 5 years. I've given all of me. I went to counseling. This relationship is done, or I need to fix it now. Right? People have hard realizations when they're smoking. They cough one day, going upstairs, they look at their grandchild and go, I'm never gonna see him get older.
puts the cigarette down, hard realization, it's changed, stomp it out, it's over. Or there's an incident. Your partner screws you over. The company goes bankrupt. You're advertising on social media and they change the algorithm and social media advertising goes away. There's these moments in life, whether they're a hard realization or an incident, that change the course of everything. And how you handle that is how your life will turn out. You see, so many times in life, people go through several of these loops. They have a loop when people tell them they're crazy and they start their business. It doesn't work out, but they learned and they get another business. But there's a point, and I want you to think about this. There's a point as we go through this process, there's certain points where people opt out and go flat, right? Hard realization. My partner took all my money and ran off. You know what? I'm never going to be in business for myself again. That's it. This was too hard. This was too painful. And that's when people flatline. And they don't really flatline because there's that old saying, if you're not climbing, you're sliding. So people go, you know how many people I meet and go, Dean, back in 97, back in 2005, I started a business, it was going good, but then the economy shifted, I lost everything, the hell with that, man. I'm never going back there. I had it, but they flatlined. The hard realization or that incident was too much for them. I tell my kids, if they're gonna go to college, that's fine. Truthfully, I'd rather them not. I don't care about college unless they want to be doctors or scientists or lawyers and that, then they need it. But if they want to be an entrepreneur, which I hope at least one of them will, I'd rather them not go to college. I feel like it's a waste of 5 years. That's just some of you might get offended by that, but I think college has just gone in the wrong direction. I see these kids getting out of college with $100,000 in debt and they learned how to memorize shit. And they come for job applications and I hire in the last, I don't know, and it's not everybody. I got some great people that went to college too. But based on values and hunger, I think there's so much more. But my whole point is, I don't want my kids to be someone who doesn't go to college and sits around and hopes to get a job. No. I told my kids they have two options, college, or they have to research, they take a gap year and research I go and work in different places to find out what they like, what they could be passionate about, what inspires them. And then once they figure that out, they have a year to figure that out, then they have to go search out the best person in that field. They want to be an architect. Find the best architect on the planet. You want to be an engineer. You want to be, maybe that takes schooling, but you want to be in fashion design. Go find somebody amazing, and you have to work for them for free for at least a year. And then the second year, if you need to, do it a second year. And find a mentor, someone they can kick ass for, and learn from somebody already playing the game at the highest level possible. So you have a mentor with me. I want to be as best I can, but I know we don't get to meet in person. So find somebody playing the game at the highest level possible in the field that you want to, and offer your services. Offer to help them. Don't ask for a job. Offer to help them, and see if you can find a mentor. I know we have some great people here in my office that could go other places and make more money, but they're here because they know I'm mentoring them and their future is set, and eventually they'll make more money here than any place else. So I look for great people who want to be mentored, and most successful people do. So make an impression, help them, and they'll give you the opportunity to help them back. If you're a little confused about money, if you're a little guilty to make money, if you're a little bit guilty that you're here, that you want to make more money, I got to get that crap out of your system, because that is just a lie someone else downloaded into you. I want to tell you, when I was able to get money so it wasn't the front and center worry of my life, guess who was left standing in the mirror? Just me. I didn't have to worry about the rent. I didn't have to worry about the car I wanted. I didn't have to worry about my kids. Only person standing. I couldn't use that excuse of, I'll worry about this later. Let me just slam a drink and keep moving harder. Let me just do this, or let me be distracted. When I was in my 20s, I dated obsessively. I went out and partied a lot. I always found a way to hide the crap that was living inside, and most of it was through work. If I was gonna say I was a holic of something, I was a workaholic, for sure, in my 20s. And then guess what happened by the time I was 30, 35? I started getting successful. I started paid off all my debts. I retired my parents. I get in my 40s and I'm really successful. And I don't have to think about money anymore. I don't have to worry about it. I worry about my companies, my family, and all that stuff. And the only person left standing in the mirror was me. What I'm telling you, what success can do,
It can allow you to spend the time on the things you really need to do, that you're avoiding through work, you're avoiding through cocktails, you're avoiding through surfing on the internet, avoiding because you binge out on Netflix, avoiding through sex, through anything. There's things that we can put out there to hide and mask. And when you get money out of the way and you get to look at you in the mirror, you could say, now it's time to be a better version of me. And if anybody would have ever told me that in my 20s, I'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? If I get money, I don't have to worry anymore. When I got money out of the way, the worry went up because I had nothing to worry about anymore except looking in the mirror and go, this guy's pretty screwed up. Like, you made the money, now let's find a way to be a better human. And when I got to work on me, I went from being in my previous relationship a good provider as a husband, an amazing dad, but I wasn't amazing. I got to work on me, and now I'm married to the love of my life, and I get to know what real love is, real compassion, real intimacy, real connection, real friendship. I get to be a dad that's completely connected to my children in a way that I thought I was, but in a whole different world because I got the coaching. I spent the money, I spent the time. I interviewed people who are good parents and who have great relationships. I got to heal the child I was. I got to forgive my dad all the way. Completely forgive my dad. My heart is complete. There's no animosity anywhere for my dad. I won't die with any regrets. I think all the time, what regrets would I have? How do I solve them now? Right? And it gave me a freedom that I never realized existed. So if you want something today to fight for the person you're supposed to be, you're meant to be, fight for that. Fight for the healing that you could be. And then here's the cool part. Then, like, when I got that, and listen, I also know how many of you are successful on here. Please, I'm not talking to you like you have nothing, and that's not what I'm saying. But I want to tell you this evolution is I got money out of the way. I started seeing success, and then when I started becoming a better version of me, I got in better relationships. I was better to my team. I became a better trainer. I became a better human. Then all of a sudden, when I got my own money out of the way, I love that saying when you're on an airplane and it says, put your oxygen mask on first, right? Think about that. You put your oxygen mask on first, and then what's the next thing you do? Then you put it on other people. Once you get your oxygen mask on, then you could say, okay, I'm safe, I'm secure. You get to focus on the things that are really important. You see, I watched my mom and dad my whole childhood. They didn't even realize it. Now I'm older, I didn't realize it as a kid, that money was their number one thing. I lived in a trailer park with my mom. We couldn't even afford the rent. We got evicted from the trailer park we lived in and moved in with my grandmother. My mom worked 3 jobs. Money was always the thing. She was a slave to it. She didn't have a degree. My mother's the most beautiful woman on the planet, had dyslexia really bad and never really got that fixed, so she always considered herself not that smart. So she would never go for a real job, like something that filled her heart. She would go for cleaning houses and painting houses and cleaning up salons and cutting hair when she could on the side. And like, she did all these things, and none of those are disrespectful. She worked, right? But money was her thing. She didn't have time to work on her personal growth or work on her emotional intelligence or overcome the things that may have went a little sideways as a kid and try to heal that child that was scared. She didn't. My father was the youngest of 12, was beat physically really bad to where that's why he didn't stay married long. That's why he had 11 brothers and sisters and didn't talk to any of them. He was in a physically abusive relationship and never took the time to heal that or forgive himself or forgive his father, right? Because all he worried about was making the next dollar, right? I get that. Maybe that's one of the reasons I'm successful, because I saw both my parents struggle so much with that it's like, I want to get that crap out of the way. Like, they never had time to work on themselves, right? And I want to tell you, as a person who didn't come from anything and legit went to school without lunch money some days, that I always thought money was going to heal me. I just thought, I'll get more successful, get more rich, and I'll be good. It's kind of true, but not really, not in the way I thought. Being successful allows you to help flourish the economy, of course, but it also gives you leverage to help, to donate, to fix, to serve, to bring people together, to help make effective change. If you don't think money solves problems, then first off, I don't believe you've ever given enough away. Think about that one. If you don't think money solves problems, you haven't given enough away. When money is something that's on your list of things to worry about, It should be. We can't do anything without money. We can't just sit at home and manifest everything to go great in our life. We'd love that, but they'll come throw you out of your house or your apartment. They'll take your TV, they'll take your car. We got to pay the bills, right? When money isn't as much of a worry, you get to focus on the things that are really important. When it comes to money and success, it's like you're at a therapist, money's on one chair, you're on the other, the therapist is in the middle, and you go, I hate that money. If I get that money, I might change. I might be a horrible person. Mm-hmm. And then in the other part, you're like, but I need that money so I can have freedom and take care of my family, and I need control, and I don't want to work in this horrible job anymore. Could you imagine a therapist saying, well, we got to get this straight. Do you hate money in that chair, or do you love money? I'm really unsure. And I think that's the conflict. I think the conflict is I think money and alcohol just expose and compound who you are. You're a jerk sober, you're a real jerk drunk, right? You're violent sober, you're very violent, right? Same with money. And I think if you're listening to Ed Milet, you have to realize that money is a byproduct of service. And what money can do is, listen, when people say to me, money doesn't buy happiness, I say, you haven't given enough away. Right. So true. When I was on your stage, I was compelled. I was compelled by you. I watched your emotions behind camera when you were talking about the families in Texas. I was compelled. Do you know how great you're thanking me? Why? Like, you're thanking me for something that filled my heart. You know how great, you know what $50,000 was to me at 18? I thought if I could make that a year, I'd be the richest man alive. Yes. And to be able to sit on stage and say, hey, Ed, let me give you another 50 grand. Yeah. But at the same time, I built 2 schools in Africa. I fed 7 million people, right? I donated $600,000 last year to Operation Underground Railroad. How blessed are we that we get to do those things, right? Yeah. So I don't know, earlier I said, Tony, I like when he says, get leverage. I said, get in the right mindset. If you feel that being successful, that you don't deserve it, or that money is bad, I'm going to tell you to dig into that. Find out where that is. Ask yourself. One of the simplest ways I always do is ask yourself why 7 times. Why do I think I don't deserve it? I'm not that smart. Well, why do I think not being smart has anything to do with being successful? And just keep asking why over and over again. And you'll get to a point where you'll start getting emotional and be like, everything I just shared is. How do we set our day up for offense? How do I set our day up for confidence? I don't know what you could do, but you should find something. I'll tell you what I do. I wake up in the morning and I immediately think of a win that I had the day before. I've just trained my brain to do this. I'm like, what was something that happened yesterday? It could be something personal, like, hey, that ride with my daughter on her way to softball practice, God, she opened up to me so much. God, I must be doing a good job as a dad. That's a win, right? Or being at my son's flag football and he scores a touchdown and the first place he looks is me watching him, like, damn good that I'm here right now. Damn it, I'm so glad I'm here. That's a win. Or it could be, I had a kick-ass inner circle. I watched everybody being engaged. Or I wrote 2 chapters in my book. Or I created a new course. Or I had a great conversation with Tony. Or we're starting a new company. I just think of what's a win from yesterday, and then what's a win I'd like to have today. Right? That's simple. That's like 5 seconds, 20 seconds, maybe a minute.
What would you say are some valuable habits that can help someone that's watching this right now? Maybe 1 or 2 or 3 habits that can help them get on the path to becoming a millionaire.
Yeah, I would say it's the little things are the big things. In fact, my dear friend Randy Garn says the little things aren't the big things. The little things are everything. So sometimes we're looking for the invention, the magic wand, the big needle mover, and it's really the little things. How we do any little things is how we do the big things. So I would incorporate little shifts in your life. Number 1, in times like now when uncertainty is high, our focus can tend to go towards what we've lost, what we don't have, and what could go wrong. Be the observer of that focus and go, my God, I can't believe I'm focusing on that again. And shift your focus on what this pandemic gave you, what opportunities exist, and where you could go. Because listen, they always say this, there was a story I read once on this long stretch of road in a place where the winters were rough and there was ice, this long stretch of road, there was one tree in the middle of this field, and that tree was all scarred up from getting hit over and over. Field all around it, and the tree kept getting hit because they said people would get in a tailspin and they'd see that one tree and their focus would go on that tree and I don't want to hit it, I don't want to hit it, I don't want to hit it, and they'd run right into it. If we're focusing on what will go wrong, we'll run right into it. So literally be the observer of your focus, number 1. Number 2, try to set your mornings up to play offense, not defense. Set a morning routine that lets you see the things you're grateful for. I know we all talk about practicing gratitude, but sometimes we can lower the bar. Sometimes it's that you woke up. 150,000 people a day don't, right? Don't make it through the day. So you woke up, it's a nice day. Like, find a way to practice gratitude. Give yourself a pat on the back for something you accomplished the day before. Give yourself some encouragement of what you're going to accomplish that day. Maybe not look at your phone for the first half hour. Do everything in your morning. That's my secret weapon, is I try to set my morning up where I can attack the day. Because if you get in defense mode, all day you're just trying to put out fires. You can't move forward by solving yesterday's problems. You can't drive forward by looking in the rearview mirror. So how do we play offense to move forward? The third thing that I think is really important is today. Like right now, when you're watching this, decide what you must say no to, because we all have this tendency to say yes, yes, yes. We're overwhelmed. We have our phone, we're appointments. 3/4 of the things you do are probably a pretty must. You should do. Half of the things you do are probably a must. You probably have 50% of the stuff that doesn't serve you, doesn't serve God, doesn't serve your bigger future, doesn't serve the man or woman you want to be. Learn to say no, and then fit in things like this challenge and other things that can expand your mind and take you where you need to be.
Because you made it this far in a video, I want to celebrate you. Most people start and don't finish. Most people never actually follow through. Most people say they want something, but they don't ever do the work to actually get it. But you are different. You are special. Believe Nation, you made it here all the way to the end, and I love you. So as a special celebration, if you put a hashtag believe down in the comments below on this video, I will showcase you and celebrate you somewhere on the screen in a future video, because you are awesome.
For 10 more amazing rules from Brendan Burchard, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
You want to accelerate learning? Here it is. Goals, deadlines, deliverables. I know that's so basic. That's personal development 101. Just most people have never applied it to learning. In high school, I want to learn French. You can just show up to French class,